Clear, Southwest 8504.
Southwest 8504.
Or do you have our flight plan up, or do we need to have dispatch file for us?
Hello everyone and welcome to TellARotor RC, a podcast about RC helicopters hosted by Michael, Mike, and Robert. This is episode 2 titled Flight Maneuver Progression. This is Michael Shaggy Parker, and with me I have Robert Monty. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
And I got Mike DiPaolo. Say hi.
I swear I'm awake.
Yeah, barely awake. Okay.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. Nickname Mike Grumpy DiPaolo.
I am the grump.
Alright, in this episode we are going to talk about flight maneuver progression. But before we do, let's go over what we did since before the last episode. Hey, Mike, let's start with you. Oh no, we start with you last week. Rob, let's start with you.
I don't wanna.
Yeah, you do.
No,
you
I don't. I really
okay,
don't.
Mike, then start.
I don't want to do it, but I'm going to keep talking, and I'm not going to allow him to go.
Okay.
I'm just going to go back to writing code. Get your code right and get your code right and drink out.
On here.
I have this listed as explicit.
Yeah.
I can say all the words if I want to. I just trying to be
professional.
Not me.
Not me.
Actually, professional for once.
I mean, we try sometimes. Professionalism.
Okay, who going?
Monty's over there with his spin spin, so I guess, let's see. I fixed a goblin. It hasn't been flown yet because a certain ninja didn't come down south to fly it with me. Stupid things we've all done since last episode. But yeah, I had to fix that goblin, and then I was very upset that a certain ninja didn't come to get it, which is disappointing. But it would have been good because it's already too cold to break the thing anyway. But he better be in Virginia this weekend, Reyes. Otherwise...
This episode will come out after this weekend, so...
Right, who wants to take pulls on a goblin? We'll just incinerate 5 gallons through it.
I'll try it.
It's called...
Who's gallons?
I have like 3 or 4 cases of nitro, and we can just run all of them through that helicopter.
I will happily run all your nitro.
For, we'll call it quality assurance.
You'll need to rebuild it when we're done.
Nah, it's good, man.
The boom was just hanging out. The boom was just hanging, just dangling. It's like, it's good.
Yeah, I gotta hand it back to him and it falls apart, right?
Yeah.
No, first flight in.
What else?
First flight in, it spits parts out.
Broken in.
It's a parts helicopter.
Drops a muffler. First flight in, drops a muffler.
Oh, dude, what's time? Alright, so, yeah, Goblin, we all went to the Fun Fly, the RCHeli hooligans, the Chill Out. That was pretty good. That was, I would highly recommend people go look for YouTube and Facebook videos on that bad boy. That's pretty epic. So, right, so...
I think Rob found the cat.
Yeah, you found the cat. So what did you do, Monty? Yeah, you did something good.
You're not done yet. No, you're not done yet. What
else have I done? I don't know what else I've done.
What you do in the van?
Oh,
yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Don't judge me for that.
Yeah. Do it.
You were there, too.
Yes, I did it. I took a poll, too. Do it.
I mean, what, have people not seen the Facebook video of that yet?
Well,
It's out there.
It's out there.
but people who are not on
Yeah.
Facebook.
I had to go foiling with a minivan because I was cold and I wanted to fly a helicopter.
To be honest, though, when you drive a minivan, aren't you always four-wheeling?
It's minor details, Monty. What you're insinuating is I need to go full-on Audi and just two-wheel that sucker everywhere.
So
Can I
would you
even
do
get
the
going that
minivan?
fast?
No. No.
I don't think I can get going that fast on that field to do that. Oh, wait, no, I probably could because the airstrips are behind it.
We were going to do that, too. We were.
No.
It's not the first time we've seen random people just tearing up and down that strip.
Kids in the golf cart.
Golf cart.
Oh, God, don't bring up golf carts. There's too many horrible stories.
Or no, it wasn't a golf cart. They were in a actual
fire
racing cart. Go-kart. They were in a go-kart.
Wait, race cart? That happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. They ended up pushing each other up and down the runway when the thing ran out of gas or something.
So what'd you do to the minivan?
That was last year. That wasn't their day.
All right, Monty, what have you done?
No, what'd you do to the minivan? You got to explain it.
I mean, I think I did.
No, you didn't.
I decided I should pull out into an active flight line so I could fly and warm.
And inside the minivan, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's full on. This is ballin' style.
Yeah, it took a...
But for all you safety people out there,
No one else was flying.
they were the only ones on the flight line.
It was like 3 in the morning.
It was 3 in the morning.
Yeah. And it was 3 in the morning.
It was pretty obnoxious.
And it was a 450.
And they were inside. They were inside a protected fuselage called Toyota Sienna.
I feel like parents would have been a wee bit upset if it came back with rotor blade marks all over the van. Although I did skid bump the hood.
Hell yeah.
The video isn't very accurate, but it looks like you hovered.
It got close enough that I was pretty nerve-wracked.
You hear ding 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 ding, then you're good. And then I flew the fireball from the same spot and popped a balloon.
You did pop a balloon. I thought the heli was going in.
It actually killed the head speed. 5,000 RPM, one balloon, done. And
Almost.
I had to spool right back up. Them things are dense.
That's why I don't ever do the balloon pop. They've got like the crazy plastic ones eat your helicopter.
They had Mylar. These are the Mylar.
All I know was when I was up in Jersey for Heli's Gone Wild. That's the first time I seen balloon popping, and their Mylar balloons exploded with a lot of energy. You almost thought a heli was going in, but they never wrapped around or wasn't that crazy like ours, where every time we seem to do it down RCHO, the balloon usually wraps itself into the heli and doesn't pop with such energy. It's kind of weak pop.
I think this is just a conspiracy by Lincoln and Chris to make sure they see more carnage.
They're just filling the balloons partially.
Yeah, man. They got to give it all back to the earth at some point. They just want to see it faster.
Yeah.
Anything else? Shut up.
That is now an in-joke.
You're welcome.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
He gets to edit all of this later. He's going to be so pleased.
No, I'm not editing. I'm just going to put some censored beeps in front of it.
I like it. Put beeps over top of...
There he goes again. How to shut up a Monty. There is no way.
No, you just deal with it. I hope he doesn't find a megaphone.
Oh my god. He's gonna grab that megaphone and start freaking screaming over the microphone. There it is! I found it.
It doesn't make him any louder. He's probably louder then, and it just means he can do it all day.
I can hear that in my headphones and in the room.
Is anybody considering the fact that the rest of his family's in the house with him right now? Probably wondering what he's doing.
Or his neighbors next door.
What? I can't hear you. You're not being loud enough!
Alright, Shaggy,
For those who don't know Rob yet, this is what he's like always.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a fair assessment. Alright, well, I asked Shaggy what he did over the weekend, but I'm pretty sure he did the exact same thing the rest of us up to.
I thought we were going to Rob.
The minivan.
I thought we were going to Rob.
What'd I do?
What'd you do?
So, I went to RCHO Fun Fly. They're the RC Heli Hooligans Chill Out, hosted by RCHO. Got a few flights in. It was cold as usual. Everyone harassed me on my 10-minute flights. And,
get off the field.
Raja rule.
And, you know what? IDGAF.
That's more sensitive.
What else did I do? I finally sat down with my one heli after the crash before New Year's. And I used a SOCO tool and redid the head linkages since those were broken or bent in the crash. I was actually kind of timing myself. It's about 25 minutes from beginning to end with a SOCO tool from basically mounting it on the heli, taking the measurements to I'm done, which was pretty cool. I enjoy that.
That's pretty cool.
What else was done? Oh, just been breaking in my new generator. Did that and took it on the Fun Fly this weekend. Put an hour meter in it so I can see hours and RPMs when it's running. Just more curious information. What else is there? Nothing. Looking forward to warmer weather.
You're boring.
Warmer weather. Looked at the forums. Was hoping people would be in warmer weather. But even today, Matt Bodos is posting up photos of tons of snow on his property.
Me get freaking dusty, and while people in the south are actually getting
Alabama.
like 3 inches.
Yeah.
Snow.
Yeah.
I want my summer back.
I want my snow. Everybody else is getting it.
I don't get the movie reference you're using!
Can we kick him off now?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
You done?
So, the next... and there's more editing. Nice.
Thank you, Robert Monty.
So,
Full Monty.
what things are happening in the heli world right now?
Oh,
Yeah, then
you tried to move. You tried to move us
We're
forward,
trying to
Mike?
move a little bit, just a wee bit. So what's the list of insanity that's going down in the heli world that we know about at least?
Blah, blah. Well, I guess everyone could take at least 2 to talk about. So go for it.
Oh, wait, I'm not going to talk about my week?
I mean, you can talk about all of it if you want.
Go for it.
Oh. So, I put about 16 flights in, 12 flights in the... Oh, where are you going?
I'm still here.
Okay, I heard, like, shuffle, so I thought you took it off.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. The Marine Corps shuffle.
Shuffle.
Guys.
There it is. You're just going to edit out 30 minutes of podcast.
So, yeah.
So,
Shaggy
12
did the
flights
same
in
thing we do. He went south. He flew from a minivan. It was great.
I guess I just ended there, then.
Yes.
I was going to talk about more detailed stuff, but you guys clearly don't care.
Nah.
Awesome.
We just
Awesome.
We just did the exact same. Somehow.
Except I flew the Nitro, man. I flew the Nitro and I put the hardest ass flight I've done on that thing.
You did,
bitches.
You did fly a T-Rex 600 a little bit violently.
Yeah, hell yeah, and I popped some balloons, bitches.
That's right. I think is Shaggy the only one that popped a balloon that didn't have a catastrophic heli failure?
I think so. I did
hold on.
twice.
The only other person I saw was Neil, and that
Yes.
thing wrapped itself around his boom pretty good.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Neil put on some good flights. He did a full speed inverted flyby and actually hit
The fun part about that is where he touched
the road and cut. Yeah, he touched the dirt.
He wasn't
cut the
planning
dirt.
on doing that at all.
He wasn't planning on it either. He cut the dirt. Big puff of smoke came or dust came up and pulled right out of it.
We were joking about it.
That was
later.
awesome.
He's like, "Oh wait, I didn't mean to do that." That was a little bit closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, whoops. The thing is, for people that don't know about the RCHO field, it's nothing but humps and hills. It's not level
A
ground.
little bit cramped.
So, yep, basically I flew 12 flights with the Fireball, 2 flights on the Nitro and 2 flights on the 420, had a blast. It was cold, it was windy, it rained the first night, but then it froze, and that's it.
We raced
and I wanna set blades.
lawnmowers, too. RCH.
Oh, yeah, they raced Nitros. Yeah, I mean lawnmowers, yeah.
Yeah, that happened. That's one of the only
And then they
fields
threw
I
it-
know of. Where you'll be flying a helicopter and then you get done and then someone runs up to you and says, "Yo, dog, you gotta get a pull on this." And there's this clapped out lawnmower that somebody bought for $50.
And the freaking transmission is no gear, no gear, no gear, no gear.
Yeah,
Six
no,
gear!
it's basically slam it into 6 and hold on for dear life because the steering doesn't work.
The dead band's like freaking like
Yeah,
30%.
No, there's like a 30-degree dead band in the steering. It was. No one died. No one got hurt. Somehow, magic. Good event. 10 out of 10. All right. So finally, though, news. Things happening in the RC world. I guess the first couple here is Mikado went and announced their V2 aluminum case, the B-bar. I'm sure there's probably a lot of opinions on that. About time, I suppose. What's the other thing? Yeah, I mean, Link's
where did they
beat
get
him
that
to
idea
it, and
from?
then Darby's been making some pretty nice ones because he went and got a Tormac CNC machine. I'm jealous of. I want one of those.
That looks pretty cool.
It is pretty dank. And he's made a couple cases. I think he was only going to make it just for friends, though. So Mikado's got theirs. Lynx has theirs, and Lynx also went and added one that has rubber damping in it as well, because I think people were a little bit concerned
Really?
that the aluminum and the board just flopping around in there. I don't know. I haven't actually put one in my hand, so I can't really say on whether or not that the board is held securely in there that would actually necessitate using a rubber damper. But from what I saw on Lynx's video, the new ones do have like a molded rubber damper, and the board goes in.
You know, that makes a lot of sense because the fact that the V-bar sensors are very, very sensitive to high vibration. So that would actually that make a lot of sense, and that'd be pretty cool if they did
what
that.
sensor they're using. I've never actually opened one up. Well, I think I opened one up for Cherry once to fix it, but I didn't take a moment to look at the sensor on that.
Right.
It was a V-bar Silverline. I know a lot of people are the MPU 3000s or MPU 6000s cell phone gyros. And so the next thing on the list is some interesting IRCHA news that people in competition will be interested in. Monty?
Sure, yeah. So IRCHA is going to go ahead and waive the special interest group SIG fee for first-time NATS participants. So that means if you go ahead and enter NATS, you'll just pay the AMA fee, which I think is a flat $45. And that'll also get you, for first-time participants, a free entry into the IRCHA Jamboree.
Shut up and take my money. You should do it.
And basically, you save $65 because that's how much the
worth it.
IRCHA cost. It's
Yeah,
worth it. 2 events for lower the price.
Yeah, and you get to hang out a couple days early, which there's some comedy that happens. It's not an IRCHA level launching a golf cart into a lake funny, but it's still good stuff. You meet a lot of cool people, too.
It's relaxing. Very relaxing.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Depends where the polo's at.
Hey man, I'm not that dangerous. Only sometimes.
He spends his time at a table grumpy.
Yes.
Grumpy.
Chained to Monty, as it's called.
Grumpy to pilot.
In the same vein, pilots in class 2 or above, if you volunteer to sit in the sun and tell people how they're bad at flying, judging, you will be also given free entry into the IRCHA Jamboree. So, hint, hint, people, you should totally show up for this stuff. It's actually really fun. And if it wasn't already very clear from the last 2 points, IRCHA's really looking to expand the competition lately. It's a very hard push for it now.
They've actually done the first item pretty much every year. It's
I did it. It was cool.
Yep, they've pretty much done it every year. Just getting the noise out there, getting it out there early. And for the people judging, they're looking for existing participants. So if you're going to enter in class 1, you're not likely going to be able to take proof of that one. But then again, you are a new pilot. If you're a new pilot, you'll be able to take advantage of the first offer.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
The other 2 IRCHA items for the Heli Nats, they're going to have a provisional class this year, F3N Sport. They'll be doing set maneuvers and they'll be doing freestyle. Set maneuvers, it will be from the F3N list of maneuvers for set maneuvers. It'll be a K factor of 7 or below, so you don't get to choose 8 or above maneuvers, trying to get interested in newer pilots. And there's no music freestyle, just standard freestyle without music.
No one's expecting you to do a reversing pirouette and cross.
And the other thing is, for those of us who like the precision part of it and the AMA Heli classes and F3C, they're also going to make a AMA Heli Masters class. And the Masters class will be flying the current F3C Schedule P maneuvers only. So that'll probably be something I'll be looking to actually enter.
In other news, Gaui owners, those of you who are nitro junkies and have been running around with a vibrating NX7, Gaui has announced a V2 fan hub. It's supposed to fix all vibration and fit problems. Now, this hub is free of charge for anyone who already owns an NX7. Big props to Gaui on that kind of customer base. That's not something you very often.
Yes.
If you're a US guy, America, you need to contact
America.
JC Zenkel at jc@IRCHeli.club. And if you are an international customer, please contact Gaui TSH. And in the small heli section, the Oxy 4 has been given I guess it'd be an exact release date of January 20th.
Yes.
Pre-orders are already up at Heli Direct and probably other places. So if you're trying
Yes, on Link's Heli Invasions, it's is where you can go to find out more information. Also, Heli Direct, they have
pre-orders are out there.
Pre-orders available. Yes.
Yeah.
$374.99 for the kit with blades. On the Link's website, it is $349 for the kit without the blades.
4, it's supposed to be at 500, I think.
No, it's runs off the 325s, and then there's a stretch kit that will be available soon after the run 360s.
Okay, so they're going to go toe-to-toe with the X3 thing.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Loxies, and I almost went and built 2. Still might do it. So to see them...
I think I might do it, too.
See them stepping into the mainline 450 size.
Maybe we should do combat with Gaui X3 and Oxy 4. Someone's
please
that means,
keep.
That means someone's got to get an Oxy 4. Wink, nudge,
You
nudge.
got to keep linking away from my Helicon.
Yeah, again.
That was one of the best entertaining flying days I ever had, Mike, was having Lincoln go, hey, watch this, and then take his heli out to go fly it.
Have we? Is that story been laid out on here before we get into the main topic stuff?
Nah,
so.
we can. I don't know. Yeah, it hasn't. We can talk about it if you really want.
I mean, it's a quick one. It's pretty. So I think that would have been this summer, right? I think it was 4th of July, maybe? Or no, not 4th of July, but maybe a little bit earlier. So we're all at the flying field hanging out, and I'm out there with the X3. I mean, it's a fun little beater heli, plastic fantastic. Lincoln's behind me, and we had been joking this weekend about 450 combat, because originally we were joking about 450 pylon racing and how it usually just turns into combat anyway. So I go out there, I'm having fun with this thing. First time I'm really ripping on it, right? It's still brand new at this point. Lincoln goes up to Monty and basically tells me, hey, you want to see something real cool? Watch this. Dude bro goes out there, stands in the pilot station next to me in Binya. I'm like, what are you doing? No, I know that face. I'm going to land my shit here. And he takes off. I'm doing big rainbows back and forth. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. You want to play this game? Fine, play this game. He gets up. He starts doing rainbows too. And then at this point, it turns into a game of chicken. Closer and closer and closer before he finally just put his X3 right through the blades of mine. Both of these things fly to the ground like a bunch of dead chickens. They go over. Neither one of them was really damaged. I mean, blades, yeah, that was kind of a foreglusion, but
Battery.
Yeah. See, I won. 2 destroyed helicopters. I mean, I won. If we're going by like thermonuclear war, I won. I had less burnt ground than he did. I didn't destroy a battery. He flew straight in because I would have been in the inverted section of the rainbow, and he went and tried to skid bump the top of my helicopter. So he kind of said hello to my rotor blades with his battery. And the fun part with that
I'm guessing he didn't have a canopy.
Oh, we weren't using canopies. You ever seen Lincoln use a canopy?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an X3. Never.
Maybe in a car.
Yeah, flying from inside of a car, you got to use it. But the fun part was, it must have been at least like 5 or 10 minutes later when we're all just sitting under the carports joking about it, when the battery in his Gaui starts going off and smoking and like shooting a little bit of fire out of the front of it.
Dang.
He's like freaking out. I'm getting ready to grab a fire extinguisher because, I mean, yeah, a Gaui's basically a throwaway 450, but all the electronics in it certainly aren't.
You're right.
Yeah, so he ripped the battery out and chucked it in the middle, just had a good laugh about it.
Dang.
But if anyone was really curious, that's kind of where this whole horrible idea of RCHO must always include combat came from. No surprise, it was Lincoln.
It was Lincoln.
You know, the story I like more is when we were headed to RCHO in 2016.
Uh-huh.
I remember Casey was building his X3 in the backseat of the van while I was driving.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember that. It was like half the parts of it disappeared onto the floor, and we found him later. And he starts taking parts out of my big bag of X3 parts because he's like trying to find things, and they're rolling into the seats. And I think Robert was driving at that point. I had my head buried in the camera because of programming. So we started hearing a freaking 450 spooling up behind us going down the road. And,
Oh my god.
oh, yeah. And I think like the third time into it,
He didn't have blades.
he didn't have blades.
Oh,
on it.
okay.
But that little rotor head, if he dropped it and started doing a chicken dance down the middle of the car. I think the first time it happened, he's like, oh crap, I didn't set up throttle hold. So he slid all the way up and stayed there for a solid 30 seconds before he just ripped the battery out of it. That heli did fly though. Yeah, he slapped it together and it flew.
Wow.
Yep.
Kind of want to get an
Still
X3
has
now.
it somewhere. I know it's not complete record. He did land it twice in one flight last New Year.
Yeah.
Meaning it bounced, it kept flying, and then it bounced again.
I think that takes us out of the news section.
Yeah, main topic time.
I got one more piece of news.
Well, what you got?
What's that?
So it's been kind of a couple weeks now, but I'm trying to wait for the today. I am now a new member of the expert servo team.
Awesome.
Yep, just
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was
Officially, I guess?
Yeah, officially, yes. Yeah, I am officially part of the expert servo team. So I'm excited to be on the team. I'm happy to be on it. Love the servos, and can't wait to see what 2018 holds for the flying year. So far, it's starting off great.
I can't wait for the conversations in the van. Fataba's better. No MKS. No expert.
it's gonna be bad.
Mine's better than yours.
It's going to be bad. Hey,
Pull out the servo leads. Which one's longer?
Hey, man. So when you gonna get me a couple of those servos so we can some dank test pulls on?
Hey, I've got a few sets
man.
already at home.
No one's servos are safe around me.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see that. I was about to call you up on that.
Hey, I'm sitting at the desk with a bunch of test equipment. Whenever.
We'll blow something up eventually.
You need to get that frequency tool again.
Why? So we can watch how a servo deals with 1,000 hertz update rate.
Hell yeah!
No. The air frequency tool that you were using for the LT stuff you're doing.
The spectrum
the
analyzer.
spec analyzer. Yeah, we need to come up with an actual use case for testing on
I
that.
sadly had to give that back.
You can't get it again?
I mean, I probably could, but
Yeah.
$10,000
liberate it.
boxes are kind of watched. I've thought about getting a smaller one, not thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Steal it if you have to.
The Hack RF or something.
Well, that's awesome news,
Thank you.
Shaggy. That's cool. So, what's our main topic tonight? Yesterday. What's our main topic?
Flight maneuver pressure and you. The story of being, or a story of going from scrub to pro.
Cool. Well, who wants to start us off on this? Who wants to talk about the sim?
That place where you're crashing.
Sometimes never really happens.
That's what the That's what the X3 is
And the
for.
Fireball.
That's true. True. Very true.
Fireball.
You know, we'll get to that towards the end. I guess this main topic is small helis for trainers. That's probably something we could talk some more about.
That one's controversial. That'll be fun.
It would be.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and start it off. So a lot of times you hear everyone talking about flight maneuver. You know, they're either trying to learn a specific maneuver, or you just hear them, they say, I feel like I'm going to rut, I'm stuck. Where do they go, or how do they practice, or what are they looking for? You know, you just feel stuck at times. I would say that's one big reason why I got into competition I wanted something to push me forward. That's one reason why I entered competition is just maneuvers. And it's been a good thing. But to the first item, the sim. A lot of the simulators have different trainers you can do with them. I know one item that I visit pretty often is a hover trainer on real flight. I'll like to queue up a circle and I'll practice my orientations in there, or I'll sit there and slowly pirouette within the circle, try and keep pirouetting for more than a minute or 5 minutes or however long. So I'll do a lot of hover training or pirouettes within a hover circle just to feel just to get a knack for correcting in all the orientation. Auto rotation trainer is another fun one you'll find some of the sims have for trying to sit down in a place and control the helicopter's descent.
And that one, auto trainer is always a little. That one you gotta go by feel. Like some of the sims, the default setting are semi-accurate. Others are just way too easy. There's just way too much drag, and it'd be kind of like dangerous for someone who's just starting out, who doesn't know that what they're dealing with is this normal. Do all helis do like this? They might be expecting 700 to auto like a 4. I guess I'm trying to remember that the real flight is surprisingly accurate.
It is for the most part.
Some of the models are kind of goofy. Like the older ones, settings I guess are a little bit dated. But it's pretty straightforward. There's a bunch of stuff on how to change that. The newer models, like the E7 and the 766 models, are actually fairly accurate, I'd say.
Very good. I like them.
Chance to take polls on people's real life. Phoenix was close-ish. Enough that you could learn on it. Yeah, it was enough that you could learn on it.
However, I will say on Phoenix, the Blade 300X cannot do a freaking auto out of 1,000 feet and be able to hang it. The last 10 feet for 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Some of the small models and funky.
Believe me, I have a 300X. I can't do that. I can't do aileron TikToks end over end.
Like, which Phoenix version is this? The last one I had experience for.
It was 5.
Yeah, I was working with a friend at the field at RCHO, and he had 5.5, and the heli I still enjoyed, and Phoenix was there. The Hanslet TDR, I enjoyed that heli in there. It was pretty lifelike, and it was more stable for those of us who are looking for a stable heli. So I found that one, and you can queue up the F3C target on the field or box and practice hovering within that. I found it to be really accurate on hovering.
The one I really liked on the on Phoenix was the Century Swift. That was actually fairly accurate. I really like that one.
So the other thing is, Real Flight has an orientation trainer. I don't know how many levels are in that orientation trainer. I think I'm at level 24 right now within it, and it just walks you through different orientations where you're mirroring a helicopter in the simulator. And it has a timer that counts down. If you're not getting the maneuver, then it'll force you back to the set within that level and force you to keep going. Another thing for using the sim and maneuver progression is join an online room. And when you're online within the sims, a lot of times what you can do is change your view to watch someone else in the room. So look around, see who else is in the room, and change your view to look at them, and even queue up and have their radio visible so you can see the stick movements they're doing for what they're doing. You can see how fast they're moving around or just where the sticks are at for it.
I've learned a lot from doing that right there, especially for what I'm learning on is pirouetting TikToks. I didn't know how to do that, and I would go online and I would just look up other people, and there's multiple ways of doing a pirouette TikTok. There's a proper way, and then there's some improper ways, but it's still pirouetting and TikToking. So I actually was able to see the different ways just by watching other people do it and having their transmitter view. I was able to see it and get an idea, and that's how I'd start. It's a good tool.
That brings up a really good point, though. Namely, we get a lot of guys who they'll see a guy walk out there and he'll throw down and do some crazy pirouette flips or something like that. And it's like the stereotypical move that everyone's the first year, I want to do pirouette flip, right? We've all heard it. And then you'll get
Yep.
people who just, they learn the muscle memory for the pyro flip. And that's it.
They don't know how to do it. They
Can't
just know
really,
they can do it.
like you know it-ish. But if something goofy happens on the model or the wind gets blowing around or something like that, they're not flying it. They just kind of remembered the way to smack the stick around to make it look like a pirouette. And it might actually be a pirouetting flip, but it's going to be that speed, that height, that wind, that exact model.
Right.
And that's an interesting point about learn the bedrock, learn the foundations for everything, like the slow pirouettes that make you want to rip your hair out. But if you can do that and you can fly the model around slowly pirouetting, then the pyro flip actually becomes kind of a joke. And it sounds
agree.
really elitist to say that, but after having gone through the slow pyro nonsense and all of that way early on, and then going after pyro flips, it's like, wow, this is really not that difficult if you can just pyro fly in general.
Yeah, I'd say I spent a lot of time. A lot of people see me when I first take off. I'll do upright pyros, and it was something Todd actually recommended to me. I can get a feel for how I'm doing that day if I'm keeping the model in place well. I know that I'm awake that day, and it should be some good flying. If I can't keep a hold of the model really well and it's all over the place, it might be a good day to practice basics or go through known stuff. But I know on the sim a lot more lately. I'll actually queue up the hover circle, and I'll do some upright pyros, but usually I go to inverted and small circle. I know like a small circle, I can't keep a continuous slow pirouette in a small circle for more than like 30 seconds before I cover the whole circle and the model explodes. I know I can do the medium circle. So that's one of the things I sit here at home and practice on the sim is just slow pirouettes in a small circle, working to get myself more than a minute without blowing the model up.
It's probably a smaller circle than you would do previously, though, right?
Oh yeah, no, I remember when I started with a large circle, it was pretty much a direct line for outside the circle, and that was it. And then got control of it in the large and queued to the medium and got control of it. So yeah, I can actually say I'm usually about 30 seconds in a small circle before I abuse the boundary and the hose up. It's not that I've lost control of it; I'm just not correcting enough to keep it. So that's one thing I do a lot with. So to go to that point, Mike, about flying around with pirouetting, I know I've actually added that into a lot of my upright stuff, as I'll just start pirouetting the model across the field, and I will actually pirouette it back to center and then move from center to my left or my right, or start a pirouetting box, especially considering that the F3C schedule P and F has slow pyro while moving between the flags in the center. So a lot of time practicing that.
It's kind of one of those things you would do that it's not something you're going to walk out there and try to wow everybody by doing, but it's something you really should do. Like Monty's saying, like we're at IRCHA, right? I'll go run off to some random corner of like a square and a half mile or something like that. And I'll just find a quiet spot, with maybe Chris Giamatti, and we'll just have a pile of batteries or on a nitro and just go through like practice maneuvers and other things, like technical things to go. Not every single flight has to be a demo flight. And if you do that, well, your demo flights are never going to be that. There, I said it. I'm just going to be a butthole today and just blatantly go all Todd Bennett on these people.
Mike Grumpy Tapalo, speaking the truth.
It's true, though. I mean, I don't want to be an ass, but it's kind of the truth.
I'll say you get more into a groove, and once people have seen it, they've seen it. And if
oh, that's something else.
Unless you change it up, it's not it's not really going to happen.
That's something else. It's like always like just go through. Let's see. Do we have the RCHN calls it their pilot proficiency program, and they picked a lot of that up from what was IRCHA's called, the pilot proficiency or something like that.
It's still out there. It's IRCHA pilot proficiency program. I actually have them both listed here in the notes. Actually, the fun thing is the RCHN PPP. The easiest place to find it is search RCHN PPP on YouTube, and you will see basically a flying example of all the maneuvers.
Right, and then
the IRCHA PPP, I'll have a link up in the show notes, is available on the IRCHA.org website.
And what's the other one? I forgot. It's a European competition website where they list just about every single maneuver that's ever been done in a competition, and 90% of them have flying examples done in sims or real life. You know the one I'm talking about.
I wonder if you're talking about the BMFA for the British modelers, where they have to go through a lot of it. I think that's where you're talking about.
It might be that one, or it might be a different one. I'll look for it after the show, and I'll hand you the link to put up for people to go to. But I remember it was like a European website where they list everything, and it brings up the point of being able to just. Sometimes you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, I just did a hurricane for the 5th time in a row. Now what? right? You get to a point where, yeah, you've got the skills to keep going, but you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, I got to come up with something. And every now and then, yeah, you'll come up with things, but it's easy to come up with cool stuff if you already have a repertoire of things to work off of, right? No great painter just walked into a room and decided, I'm going to paint a Mona Lisa. The guy already knew how to paint and probably painted a whole bunch of different things. You know, Michelangelo, Sistine Chapel, the guy had already done, I don't know, countless artworks. So it's the kind of same thing with heli maneuvers, is you already know a ton, and then from there you start mixing things together and doing transitions, and before you know it, you're messing around on a simulator and you've invented the Piro wobble because you screwed up a Piro flip and you thought, hey, that looked cool. So, yeah, I'll get you the link for that so people can see it, but yeah, it's got a huge listing of maneuvers for people to look at and to go work for, because otherwise it just kind of gets boring if you just do the same thing over and over. Monty can tell you, and Mike's probably seen it too, that you go to a flying field, if you're there for a couple of years, you'll notice there's always a couple guys that they'll always do the same mistakes and the same maneuvers over and over and over again. They might fly hundreds of more times than you do, but you're doing 8 times better than them in 3 months. And it brings up an interesting point when it comes to progression is, if you're going out not to have just a fun screw-around flight, you actually want to go out and fly to get better, you have to consider, as you're flying, what am I trying to do? How am I trying to do it? And if you screw something up, go back and think about what it was. You think through the maneuver. You don't have to do the whole thing as fast or as hard as you can. Like, a lot of times if I'm trying to figure something out new, first I'll find it or I'll think about it. Like, okay, I want to do this. So I have an idea in my head of what it is and a general idea of what the stick movements are before I've even ever touched the actual helicopter itself. Go in the sim, probably crash a bunch of times, try to figure it out, maybe hit on the slow motion, or like a real flight has auto reset for P, right? So I might put the helicopter into the entry of the maneuver, right? Already flying, moving. Maybe it's upside down, maybe it's halfway coming out of a tick-tock. Hit P then. So I can just immediately hit reset. You know, don't even bother about resetting for the maneuver, flying it around in the sim. Just immediately just hit P and fly that one part of the maneuver and over again, just to practice it, right? And while you're doing it, you're thinking to yourself, all right, maybe I need to add left aileron here, and this always has right rudder here. Like, know the maneuver before you even ever go after the big helicopter, because otherwise you go to the field, that costs time and money, and now you've charged a bunch of batteries, more time and money, and you're flying around wasting daylight trying to figure something out. So, I mean, that's just kind of you could say the engineer's take on it, right? It kind of kills the fun and magic of it, let's be honest. But on the flip side, you will have gone to the field and you're going to be making your flying time useful to you. So maybe you only spend 5 flights out of the day practicing something, and you might be shocked that, all right, you hate yourself for doing all that rigorous sim practicing, and it might not even be that much. If you critically think about what you're doing, you'd be surprised how fast you can actually progress if you look at your mistakes and you analyze them and you build off of them, instead of just trying to rote memorize a maneuver and you actually think it through. And a lot of this I actually picked up. Dang, I gotta find. I will also put that in the link. Actually, I might better find it right here. But the guy I got a lot of this ideology from is a real big time full-scale pilot. Well, he does full-scale, but he also does a lot of like model teaching. And he's like, I cannot remember his name for the life of me.
I know another thing I'd recommend is I know, Mike, like a lot of times you'll ask me to come out and I will critique a maneuver with you. But something I found for guys who are doing a lot of sport flying and they're trying to make it look smoother or better, a lot of the plane pilots on the field, if they've ever done like some plane competition, they'll actually know how a maneuver should look. Like if you're talking about a stall turn or just banked figure eights without climbing or changing in altitude, they know what a maneuver will look like, and they'll ask you simple questions. Like, hey, I thought you were doing a figure eight. Why did the heli climb so high off your left or right shoulder? And they'll ask you that, and you'll go, oh, yeah, it's a good observation.
I found it. David A. Scott. That's the guy's. Real big name in the not full scale, but plank world for training. And the dude's got a huge amount of resources on RCFlightSchool.com where it's not heli stuff, but just the whole like teaching methodology, or the methodology of thinking it through as, here's a maneuver, I want to learn it, and you attack it in a crawl, walk, run format. Where you learn the thing, you know what it's supposed to look like, then you move to the sim, you make sure, okay, I can do this now, and then when you go to get to the aircraft, where the time is valuable now, you're on a flying machine, it's you got to worry about wear and cost, and the time, you're burning daylight, right? I mean, anyone can sit in their house in the middle of winter okay, you're bored or it's raining outside, but like your flying weekend, that's valuable time when you think about it. So if you're really trying to learn something, you want to make it valuable. But then even when you're out there, if you do the maneuver and you screw up, or you get someone like Monty next to you that says, "Do it again, asshole, you did it wrong." Have a way to analyze it, right? So you can see if you made a mistake in there. And that's the difference between, I think it might have been Kyle Stacy or someone we were joking about this, where like one of the big differences between the guys who really advance and make a lot of difference, who never really seem to plateau, is that they are able to go back and look at their mistakes. They analyze what they've done. They critically attack learning flying. So then when they go to do a demo flight, or they go to throw down at 2 in the morning in front of a light tower, they know the maneuver's solid, right? They've already gone through all the horrors of making mistakes and screwing it up and then getting yelled at by their buddy.
Yeah, I know. I had the opportunity last year to actually sit down with Kyle at a smaller fun fly, and he was practicing a maneuver. It was absolutely amazing to watch. I was like, dude, that was great. He goes, it was hard. I was like, I'd love to see that one broken out competition somewhere. He's like, that's a difficult maneuver, and he was actually practicing the basics of it and working it out, and it was great to see him go through that critical part of practicing it and working it out and seeing where it was, how far into it would start falling apart as a maneuver.
Yeah, because
trying to keep it together.
Most of them you can break them down into things average Joe would look at and be like, oh wait, that's easy.
Yeah.
So like, I guess you could say you could boil that down, like what I believe and David Scott always goes by is the difference between the best flyers and most flyers would probably be that you have to make the connection between your actions and what's going on. Like, don't fly reactionary. Don't, like, throw the aircraft up into the air and then try to do something and then you're watching it and you're like, oh, well, because you're always going to be lagging behind it, especially with airplanes. Because I guess our crowd probably knows I also dabble in planks and jets, and our heli guys are lucky, I would say. Having gone from helis to try out airplanes will do weird stuff. They don't have gyros. You go below a certain speed and the control surfaces start to stall out and they'll snap roll and do other craziness. And a heli will do similar things in a maneuver, like if you do too much pitch or you blow your tail out or something, but don't be someone who flies reactionary. Don't be trying to go through the maneuver and just kind of lagging behind the aircraft as it's doing something. You like go in there with positive control and know the sticks need to do this, or knowing ahead of time that, and something like a flipping circle, that you need to touch the tail a little bit each time it flips. It's probably one of the bigger things I've learned, to make the difference between something making it look really nice and just kind of flailing your way through it like someone who's on fire.
That also so that also goes to another thing as far as progression or anything like that. Is also, and you mentioned before about like looking back at maneuvers, is record your flights, whether it's recording real flights or on the real flight simulator. Record your flights, and so especially if you're at like a plateau, you don't know if you're progressing. You're trying these new maneuvers, but you can't see if you're actually getting further into that maneuver. If you're making it look cleaner, record the flight, especially from the beginning. That way, you can always look back in time and see, okay, I see what I was doing when I first started this maneuver. Now I feel like I'm not that far, but look, I can see the progression of this maneuver. I actually started recording when I was learning how to do a pirouetting TikTok. When I got the first recording of when I first tried to start it to now, which is not clean. I've been working on this maneuver for months. I'm at the point where I'm thinking I'm not getting any further, but I looked at the older videos that I had, and I could see a huge progression from the time I first started to now. So definitely recording, you can see the difference from the time you started to the time you are currently by recording your flights, whether it's real life or on the sim.
Technical aspect of that recording thing, I was showing Shaggy, if you're running Windows 10, there is a game DVR function within the Xbox application, so you can actually record into MP4. So if you want to post it up on YouTube and show friends or ask for feedback, or just record it for yourself for later review.
And that's actually way better than what I use, because I use what's called Fraps. It's a game recording program. It costs $35, and it records in huge files. Like a minute is like over a gigabyte of data. It's insane.
Wow.
It's great. I love it. I really love it. But you got to have like 5,000 terabytes of freaking hard drive to be able to store it all.
Yeah, for sure. Video video is definitely one place you can, even if you never post it to the internet, it's just like for personal use, it can be something very useful to be able to go back and look, did I do that wrong? Did I do it right? You know, you fly a certain kind of loop and you might see, oh, I'm not using aileron here. So my loops always end up going off to the side or something. Like a really good example, again, from Scott's, he's got like an intro to this school where one of the things he says, an excerpt from his Knowing How to Fly manual is, proficient pilots don't merely get better at their corrections. They know how to fly altogether, so fewer corrections are needed, and therefore frees up more time to think ahead of other things. It's not how many hours one's fly that determines success, but how he or she spends their time, aka practice doesn't make perfect, good practice makes perfect. Yeah, so don't...
That's a funny thing is flying with Ben and Chris is practice. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Dang. Did he actually say that? Perfect practice makes perfect? Because that is totally, like, I guess we know. He's probably, you know, I bet you if you go talk to Chris Jenny and you mention the name David Scott, he's probably going to know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, David's actually written a few times in the Model Aviation magazine.
He knows how to teach.
AMA's magazine. Yeah.
You know what else is in that AMA magazine, Rob?
Boy. Oh,
There's
it's
a certain picture. Yep.
Yeah, there's that in joke again.
It's not gonna die, man. It's not gonna die.
It probably isn't. I'm still waiting for Clint.
Oh,
where's my photo contest?
Another item on practicing outside, Mike. We're kind of talking about something I'll hit. You and I'll talk about is and I've talked about some others about is ensuring maneuvers are centered. So if a maneuver is supposed to be centered with you from front of you, center it. And the other thing is to do it fully off your left shoulder and right shoulder. So if you're flying a figure eight and your left side's always bigger than your right side, fix it.
Yeah.
Be critical and fix it of yourself. That's you saying, you know, it's nice you fly the figure eight. Be a bit more critical of yourself and fix the size of that figure eight and make it equal on both sides.
Height control, speed, centered, all of that. Because I remember we were messing around. I think it was last mowdown or maybe 2 mowdowns ago. It was probably like 3 a.m. Somehow we were the only ones still out there with Bennett, and I think I realized I still had a battery charge. I want to kill these batteries as fast as possible because I'm about to pass out from sleep deprivation. I went out there, and I think I did nothing but just big air things, just trying to kill the battery. But I remember, blurry-eyed though he was, Bennett was like, that's a really nice Hurricane. It's low, it's fast, and it's drawing a straight line, and it's centered. I didn't really think anything of it, but Monty previously yelled at me so many times, make it centered, asshole, and other things like that. Or do it the other way, asshole, you know, to another long list of expletives I've been yelled at behind my back.
Oh, I yell it right beside you.
Oh, yeah. But it's a lot of people, I feel like a lot of our 3D buddies, they won't really, those kind of little things, right? And like presentation or making sure centered, like, that looks really cool when if you're not the one flying it and you're watching it. It's not the first time I've seen someone go up and just like pull off like a really perfect loop, a tail down funnel, and it's just like the tail's just barely scraping the ground, or just even doesn't even have to be low. It's just it was fast and it was centered and it was a constant line all the way around. Like I noticed things like that, and like I would tell you for sure that if you went and did cool like that, and you had Kyle Stacy or Jamie Robertson watching, you know, competition guys, they would notice that.
Yep. No, it goes back to something you're saying a bit ago, Mike, that if you're muscle memorying your way through the maneuver, you're not actually flying the model all that much. You're doing
along for the ride.
The model's doing something. So a lot of times if I see a guy or a gal flying something very specific and they're doing the same mistake over and over again, if it's a friend, I'll yell at you. I'll get out the megaphone if needed and yell at you to do it from your other side.
For sure.
If it's someone I don't know, I may or may not, you know, talk with them, see what they feel about it. You know, that's one of the things I'd say I've learned myself is that I don't need to run out there and critique everyone and tell them that they're doing something wrong. Not to say I was doing that, but not everyone wants feedback and everything. So I'm always happy to see guys progress, and you know, I get it. Like I can tell you, I play around with funnels a lot, and I wouldn't say they're the most controlled, but you know, I critique myself and realize what I'm doing, and I'll talk with Mike about it or other friends and change things up and get control, you know, work on control of it, work on moving it around, work on keeping it in place, the altitude, the speed, the size, whether it's big or small, but, you know, think about it, work at it.
I need to put an interlude in here for viewers that the phone going off and the random laugher. So long story short, my microphone or something went stupid and we lost the last 25 or so minutes of the show where I was in there. So we had to go back, and currently in the Virginia Heli Pilots Facebook chat, I posted a picture of me sitting in a hotel bathroom because I'm in Virginia right now. And it's turning into a contest of who can draw the most phallic object over this picture. And let's see, Powerline Kunicki is currently in the lead, and I told him, that's a 6 out of 10. You can do better. Let's see an 8.
And I added, I want 6 pounds of sound.
Oh, yeah. All he's given me so far is something that looked kind of shriveled, and now he gave me a chode, and I'm still disappointed. Right. So if I remember right, something, do CG right, and execute maneuvers nicely because people will respect that. I think so.
We summed up the whole podcast in 2 sentences.
Nice.
Yay, done.
Engineering efficiency. Everyone can go home now. Except for Shaggy, because he gets to edit everything.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
You know what? What? That is obvious. And that is very obvious, but he's already at home.
You're right. He sounds like a robot with a Walmart internet. I'm sorry, Shaggy.
Better. Walmart is better. I prefer to be on Walmart internet.
I prefer the Walmart.
It's a higher grade than what you get at Home Depot.
I prefer Home Depot. I don't give a crap better than a freaking HughesNet.
Right. So I guess what else is worth talking about for Heli's setup?
What else is worth talking about?
So CG helicopters.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
Get those beeps. Hold on.
And
Come on.
You got to get the beeps, please. Just
It is not easy to put censored beeps in front of
just
every
one
single
spot.
word.
even if it's just that one spot where it's just a bunch of 1,000 hertz beeps. Just please.
Dude, you don't understand how many I've done.
Oh wait, really? So this is like
It was insane.
so
Now I gotta do like 10 more.
So those are
I
in there.
told you my feedback. Just cut it out. Cut it out, and we'll get one at the end.
I mean, it's gonna be funny.
10 at the end.
This is gonna be like some full-on George Carlin.
Or just get some interlude music for 7 seconds and explain afterwards that we had to play interlude music because Monty decided to have Tourette's for a moment.
Yes, exactly.
Don't talk shit about Total.
I love you, bitch.
Oh my god. Bitch! I love you. Right.
Oh,
so, autos. We should totally talk about autos because I'm looking at the notes of stuff we did talk about, and then I'm trying to remember the order, and autos was in here.
Yes,
Autos were. I have to English. I
have to English. No, we were saying take a blade holder, throw it out there in the field, and do autos to the blade holder. And
so it's something about practicing maneuvers. It goes into this. Yeah, and like a really good way to practice autos, and especially if you own a 700 Nitro. If you say you don't do autos and you own one of those, I'm personally giving Monty full permission to get his megaphone and call you a for an entire fun fly. Because you literally own the cheat code for doing autos. Like, laughably easy.
Or 600 Nitro.
Yeah, a 600 Nitro do it too. Even a 700 electric will do it really nicely. But like a 700 Nitro, especially at low fuel, is literally like stick it at mid-stick and go take a dump. And it'll be landed when you come back. It's literally that easy. I can do things with the N7 that I guarantee you I would not try with anything else because I know I would smash it.
Right.
Maybe you should give that N7 a name with those kind of things you're doing with it.
It's never actually, knock on wood. There's no wood in this bathroom though. But that might be risky. But it's never actually been like thoroughly crashed. I've busted skids off of it, having the motor cut out a long time ago. But, no like epic. I tell you, dude, when I first crash a really big heli, it's going to be amazing. What do you want to bet? Like, 100-mile-an-hour hurricane into the barn at Thornburg.
No.
Like a helicopter hole shape, bam, right through there.
No, see, that's Justin Pucci's luck. Your luck would be just to, like, break one tooth of a gear. That's about it.
Well, hold on.
You're gonna crash like a girl.
We
man.
did find out that the boom supports on an N7 do in fact have a lifetime. And it is exactly 3 years of flying.
But even then, you don't crash it.
Yeah, I know. It came flying off, and I was like, what the hell? I know I put a bolt in there, and I know I Loctited that. I've never had one of those come loose like that, only to look and like, wait a minute. Both sides of this boom support have cracked off, meaning both bolts were totally in the helicopter. I was like, well, that sucks. I totally stole.
You weren't inverted.
Yeah, well, it came loose right as I was going inverted. I'm like, well, there's no real way to stop this. That thing's going through the blades.
Oh, it did. It was a nice little pop.
Yeah, and Monty was
it
like,
went through the blades?
oh yeah, it did. It cracked it.
Oh, okay.
And Monty was like, wait, Mike's helicopter never makes clicking noises. What's going on?
Dude, the carbon fiber dust on the rotor blade was pretty good.
I think Shaggy came
Nice.
over and he was like, did that hurt the blades? I'm like, dude, that's 700 bladed. That's a piece of carbon. That's like flying a jet through a fleet of sparrows. It's not going to notice. There's a bunch of death goo everywhere, like there was on my blade, but no damage.
Yeah.
I remember when I was doing a small auto and I see this big horn beetle. I mean, massive horn beetle.
Oh, those make awesome noises.
It's just sitting there, and I'm like, auto, and I have no way of avoiding this thing. I'm like, oh no, and it's flying straight toward the helicopter.
You know what?
It's the loudest ping I've ever heard, and it's just not. And I look at the blades, and this big old splat, and there is a chip on my blade.
You know what though? This is good. The listeners this time, I didn't do this in the original recording of this podcast. They get to hear the sparrow story.
There's a sparrow story?
Yeah, Robert knows.
Yeah, there's the maiden of the 600 Align Electric.
Hold on now. There's 2 incidents with that helicopter. First big heli I ever got, right? I'd never been to a club at this point. I'd had a 450 for like 3 months or so and figured out how to fly the thing decently. It was probably like 6 months in, first internship, got a lot of money. Like, all right, let's go buy something stupid, right? 600 Pro had just released. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get this. It shows up. I fit my whole 450 into the canopy and realized I might have screwed up. So I'm thinking, all right, we'll build it. So I build the whole thing. I think it's the fourth flight, I think. Took it outside. I'm hovering in my front yard, and it's probably like, maybe 80 by 80 feet total. It's not big.
Man, I would call your front yard 40 by 40.
It's a box.
20 by 20.
It's totally do an inverted punch out with a 700 nitro there. Fun. Right? So anyway, there's azalea bushes where there were when my grandmother was still alive and with us, and she really, really stupidly loves these little birds out front. My dad and I, we think they're flying rats for the most part, the little sparrows. But I was hovering this thing, and it was like 1,700 RPM, no, not slow. And this was actually the second incident I had with a sparrow. The first involved me running an RC carpet on the sidewalk, and I think one of them had terminal downs or something, and just sat there. And I was playing chicken with him, and I was for sure he was going to fly away, right? So that's what birds do. And he didn't. And that was the end of that sparrow, and I had to... Yeah, I think he was like ill or something, because he just sat there and rolled. Right? So this incident with the 600 involved the sparrow that was significantly more flight worthy, which is how he unceremoniously said hello to one of my rotor blades as he flew out of the azaleas. And that was a mess. And the fun part was Grandma was in the kitchen, and you have to go past the kitchen to get to my room where I was going to clean the mess out of my helicopter. And yeah, she was looking down at crossword puzzles. I got really lucky she didn't see anything. She asked me what all the feathers out front were, and I was like, oh, I guess the hawk got lucky and caught something.
Yeah, the hawk being your heli.
Yeah, it was the hawk. The hawk did it, yep. Totally a hawk.
Just for the record, no sparrows were harmed in the making of this audio.
Well, one.
Not yet.
I can arrange that.
In the spirit of Super Troopers 2, how much do I get for shooting that bird?
Oh, God.
That's a bald eagle. You're going to hell.
Wait a minute. Did that movie come out?
No, it's set to come out April 20th, 2018, and the Red Band trailer just released this week, and it's a good laugh for two and a half minutes.
I wish it was. I really wish it was like the weekend of Heli Spring Fling, because I would straight up do a fun fly screening, and we could just go fill a movie theater and go watch that. Oh, I would totally just like, I'm shutting the light tower down. We're all going to watch a movie. Don't be a bunch of antisocial assholes. Let's go.
All right. You want to go to CG Helis? CG and Helis?
Do it. CG or Heli. It's the one tip we're giving in this episode. CG or Heli.
Yes.
It will make it better flying.
It makes it a lot better. Always do it.
Yep. Also,
this is one of the areas where I will actually abuse and add lead weight if needed to get CG.
Yeah.
I avoid it if I can, but there's times when I can't, and I will do it.
You're on like the far end of the E5 platform.
Yeah, I'm not in designed areas, purposely designed areas, so I do have to do it. But I remember even running the way I had the layout of my components when I was flying the Thunder Tiger E700. I had to add a little bit of weight to the tail.
And some helis.
I was nose heavy.
We've run into some helis that like that, like when they put the really long tail boom on the Align 550. I think there was one revision.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The 550, I had a 550 V2 flybar, and the longest it could run was a 550 main blade, and that thing was always tail heavy. There wasn't a position to put a battery on that thing.
I remember, you remember Jimmy Tibbs at our club? He had one, and I took it home and built it for him.
Yeah, it was a 600.
Yeah,
they put the 600.
Yeah, so they made it even longer, and that one you actually did need to add weight to it in some cases. Like that thing was crazy tail heavy.
yeah.
This is one reason. This is one thing I'll break the rule. This is one thing I'll break, standard thought and say, get the CG. Try and move your components around as best as you can to get closer to CG. But CG is important enough. I will add weight that doesn't have a functional purpose other than being weight.
I like wobbly pyro flips and all sorts of comedy as much as the next guy. I mean, I thought everyone was supposed to do that. Isn't that how Kyle Dahlin or them are doing the pyro wobble? Just like hang a fishing weight off the back of your helicopter?
Is it on a servo that like wind it back up when they're done with the pyro wobble?
Maybe you know it.
That'd be interesting.
I got that whole Rube Goldberg thing going on with a bunch of linkages and servo string going out the back. It looks like something that would come out of Bob Harris's garage.
Yeah. One thing that I did with my especially when you're doing, like, you guys were talking about stretched helicopters, Goblin 420. So when I got that going, I put a really big battery in there. I'm running a 2200 milliamp 6S, and now I got a 2600 milliamp 6S in there, which is still tail heavy. So I had this was actually during Nats, because I used the 420 for the sportsman's class before I got the E7 going, and I literally, like, Rob and Mike were going to Walmart, and I just called them. I was like, "Hey, give me some BBs, stat." And they picked me up a bottle of BBs, and I just mixed epoxy and just dumped the. I honestly don't.
That was hilarious.
I never even measured it. I just dumped it all on the canopy, packed it as tight as I could, and it was funny. Is even the battery, because I had the quick connect battery tray, so you had that little handle thing in the front of the battery tray. Was actually hitting where the BBs are. So I had, while the epoxy's drying, I had to kind of spread a little hole there and spread them up the canopy, down the canopy, from the inside, of course. So I can have like a little slot where that tray can fit in there, and it doesn't, so I can still get the canopy on there. I added a crap load of weight to the point where you could take the canopy off, put it on the table, and it acts like a weather vane. It sits upright.
I remember when we went and got those, you were like, "How much should I use?" I'm like, "Well, you got to figure out how much to hang off the front first." And then it was like, "Well, what do we do about the epoxy?" You're like, "Dude, I don't know. I'm not an airplane guy." You are, Mike. Good luck.
Actually, I think the funniest part of that whole thing was having to get my ID checked.
Oh, that was hilarious.
At Walmart to make sure I am of age to buy BBs.
Yeah, I'm like 15 years younger than Monty, standing next to him, and he's the one buying it. And they're like, "This guy's got 5 kids. And you're carting in for some BBs in Muncie, Indiana." It's not like this is Maryland or something.
Yeah,
an open
that was
place.
Funny.
Yeah,
because we did self checkout, and it was like, "Nope, I'm not letting you check out. You need an associate." It's like, what?
Yeah, that was kind of like dumbfounded.
It goes right up there with you hear something at work and I just yell out, I need a dog.
You know what? IRCHA's cool. But man, Muncie's a weird town. Sorry, Jenny. Greg.
It is.
Can we talk about real quick as a tangent the fact that there's a place with over 1,000 people next door for a week, right? And everything closes at 9 o'clock during the week. And it's the far east end of the Eastern time zone, right? Or far west end. So it's daylight till like 9 o'clock. And we're all used to go fly till it gets dark and then go eat dinner. Except that this is now 9:30 and all the good places are closed. So all I got to say is a big shout out to Applebee's to actually being open that late so we don't starve.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Wendy's.
that place
And
we
Wendy's. You gotta
tried-
remember Wendy's.
Yeah, Wendy's. Well, what was that place we went to last year? It does the milkshakes. They were past Walmart.
Oh,
like
Steak and Shake.
You knew,
Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
Was it Steak and
Steak and
Shake?
Shake.
Yeah.
The difference being that the one in
Though-
Muncie's actually good.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, except for I felt a little old in there.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm in my 30s and I was like, I feel old. This is the first time I felt old at an establishment.
Man, the waitress was hot.
I don't remember.
yeah, that's old.
Though tonight I did get corrected by a customer who was doing takeout at an Italian restaurant on the pronunciation of Chinook
Oh,
and
God.
the name of the Chinook helicopter.
Oh, boy.
It's quite odd.
Somebody was saltier than you.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking of which, just to go forward, to go backwards, did anybody do something fun today?
I scared the living hell out of some people with a jet. That was cool. I flew an N7. That was also fun. And Justin's X3 shakes like a wet dog and I haven't figured it out yet, but we're all blaming it on the torque tube because the X3 torque tube is lame. And the only reason you have it is because it comes with a kit and you use it for a kickstand for other stuff.
Yeah. I think, Shaggy, you did what today?
I worked.
Good for you.
It sucks.
I love the fact that you're supporting the United States economy.
It's terrible. But before work, I actually worked on my my old Blade 300X, my very first helicopter. I pulled that out of the box, and I strapped a 6S to it.
Wasn't that helicopter stock 6S?
No, that was stock 3S. I ripped out
Oh,
the
it must
old,
be the 360 then.
Yeah.
huh?
yeah 360 6S. I ripped out the old 4500 kV motor and the 25 amp speed control, and I put in the same electronics that are in the 270 CFX, which is a 2350 kV 6S motor and a 35 amp Talon ESC. Now I just got to put some better servos in there, and that's about it. And spool it up with a Fireball battery, which actually I'm gonna have to add weight to the tail, or weight to the tail because it's nose heavy.
Your nose heavy.
I am. But so yeah, that's what I worked on today, and I'm actually excited. That was my first helicopter, and hasn't seen any airtime in like 2 years.
Wow.
It's been a while.
I went down and hung out with my friends in Fluvanna today and did a bunch of flying. I was happy to basically remade my helicopter I have dedicated for F3N. It's my more aerobatic of the bunch based upon blade choice and some rates I have set up in it. I was having a lot of fun with it. Was happy that the repairs worked well and no other vibrations were present, so don't have to dig deeper into it. And I was having a lot of fun with autos today because the wind, I don't know, what were the wind measurements in Fredericksburg, Mike? Did you ever take a look?
Well, it was the kind of wind that removes all the older gentlemen from the field and then leaves it for us at later day.
Oh, yeah, that's the good
It was like 20 gusts in the morning. I did a jet flight just so I could see the thing try to shake itself to death and then landed basically hovering. That was fun. And then I guess the older guys with the lighter planes were like, oh, that means I can fly too. And it was just, let's see, the best way to summarize this would be grab all of your expensive stuff on the flight line and go hide it because it's probably going to get hit. And then
I remember that time. It was scary.
Yeah, it was fun. I love Gordon actually knows how to land now. That's cool. He's actually really good at it, but he's put in a ton of time.
Yeah.
So now, the funny thing is, a lot of the old guys will see him go fly and they think, "Oh, Gordon's terrible at flying a plane. I can totally do this," and then they crash. And then
he's trolling the pilots of the field,
doing it without even realizing it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's the good stuff.
Oh wait, auto bailout. That's probably important to mention.
Set it
Do
up.
it. Yes, absolutely. Set it up and test it. And I think if I remember right, yes, I remember this now from the last podcast. This led into the whole go over every switch on your radio and make sure it's set up properly. Yeah, I remember this.
Well, let me roll backwards a little bit, and we'll roll forwards on the auto bailout. If you're running a castle and you're building your heli, please check that box to enable auto bailout. And then when you go through your initialization to teach it the range for your throttle, that will teach it. You don't have to enable it in your transmitter. You can continue showing it 0 and not have it turned on because you would have no plans on doing autos today. But then when you do, you won't have to revisit your castle setup. You can just adjust your radio. And you can go on with life without forcing yourself back to the table to readjust your castle setup and then reteach castle your whole throttle throw range, and you'll be happier to have done it already and made sure things worked. To go forward, set up your auto bailout and know what your switches do.
This is important.
Know what your switches do. Go into your servo monitor and check out when you move around your gimbals. Check out the channels you expect to move. When you flip switches, the channels you expect to move. If anything extra moves,
go fix it.
Go remediate it.
Yeah, read the manual again. Rob Cherry made a great flowchart I should post on the podcast website. Right, it's to the tune, I have a problem. Did you read the manual? Yes. Go read it again slowly. And then we were bored and it was 1 a.m, so he then shortened that to, I have a concern, and the only arrow goes to, no you don't. We should put that in the manual. Yeah, that's going in there. You know what? 516 manual update. That's going in the front. Customer service win. But right. So switches and functionality, definitely go through all conditions you expect, right? You know, like normal mode, if you have that, idle 1, idle 2, make sure throttle hold works, make sure throttle cut works if you're using a nitro. Just basically try to think of, I'm flying a helicopter and these are all the modes I could be in. They all work. Good. Because a very fun story that actually, I know Justin listens to this because he told me yesterday. So sorry, Justin, for the story about your jet. But he still has it somewhere. It's called a Rookie. It's a Carf Rookie. Real fun, like 3D jet, big delta wing thing. Really fun. Has a gyro in it. The gyro also has like a hover mode. So he flies this thing around a couple times and everything's working great. And I think that night he messed with some of the setups and the way the gyro was configured, which may have included the way the switches were. And this time the switch for getting in and out of the gyro modes was different than every other switch on any other model he had. So he takes this thing up, he puts it in this beautiful flat spin, right? And it's just doing it perfectly executed. And then I hear the F-bomb. And I'm like, okay, Justin does not swear very often. Something is genuinely wrong with this jet. And I'm like, well, it looks fine though. And then I heard another F-bomb. And he's like furiously switching all the switches on his radio. I'm like, okay, that's bad. So this thing ends up doing a perfectly executed 200-foot long flat spin into the cornfield. Or it might have been soy by that point. The thing was like...
I think it was soy.
Yeah, it was barely damaged. The thing was fine. Like, I think it cracked the motor mounts, and when it comes...
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, when it comes to airplane land, that's actually pretty easy to fix. But...
Yeah, the fact that it was flat the whole way down definitely helped.
Oh, no, it was falling at like 10 miles an hour. It was stupidly slow. It was, like I said, perfectly executed flat spin.
Basically, it was the same way of taking the plane 2 feet and then just dropping it. That was basically the same thing.
Yeah, so it banged up the motor mount a little bit, and the rest of it was fine. You'd probably fly it again. But point being, go through every single switch and memorize all of them. And then if you change something, be an asshole to yourself and go through them all again, because otherwise it's expensive. And a helicopter, worst case a jet might do is, the gyro is stuck on and it may have hurt itself a little bit. Worst case, things go flying into buildings or a helicopter spazzes out and tries to rescue itself on the ground, and everyone gets to point at this guy like, look, he just rescued himself into the dirt. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Look at your switches.
Just trying to go back to the factory.
He wants to go back to China.
I was trying to go back to the factory.
Yeah, it doesn't see that. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so it just sees straight down. Go.
Yeah. Justin's never going to make that mistake again. And I've done it. I did it before. I've done I've normal moded myself before. That's like a rite of passage.
Well, and you were mentioning like throttle cut for nitro, Mike. I would actually say even check your throttle cut for your electrics, because I know
some people have
many V control guys use throttle cut. I now use throttle cut on my Futaba setup with the Contronics, because I normal moded myself into a crash last spring and cost myself a set of rotor blades and some servo horns and some linkages. And, it was a damper on the fun fly. Need to be a bit more professional than that. So I use a throttle cut switch now, and, I've been real happy. About that.
I guess, call me archaic. I still use a normal mode, but it's probably because I fly so much nitro.
Well, and then one of the things I noticed, like if you call up certain support folks and say, hey, I need help setting up my ESC, a lot of times they'll just have you do your normal mode and your transmitter as a flat line 0 where it gives no throttle. But for, many transmitters where you can't add more flight modes, you kind of lose a whole flight mode to what you could do as a head speed. So the throttle cut switch gives you the ability to have a normal that you can 3D in at a head speed you want to, like 1300 or 1500 or 1600, and still have an idle up 1 or 2 where you're doing like, 17 or 18 or 19 or 2100 on a 700 class heli or whatever the head speed you choose. So I really don't like losing it that way. So a throttle cut switch is pretty nice.
The place that really applies would be Castle, because Castle resets when it sees a 0 throttle and otherwise stays armed forever. So you kind of need the throttle cut for that one.
Contronic does as well.
Contronic works the same way on their bailout?
Yeah. Except, they're not running a timer. They're running they want to see a certain throttle signal. If it sees a certain throttle signal, it assumes quick spool up. If it sees a 0, then it goes back into slow spool up.
I see the benefit of the timer. I just wish manufacturers would let you set the timer yourself, because a lot of times
Scorpion does.
The most I've seen in some cases, like some manufacturers, they top out like 30 seconds. And
I want to say when I was flying the Commander V Scorpion 130,
they gave you a long
years ago, they gave me like 45 seconds. And to be honest,
that's pretty long.
On most normal weighted 700 class helis, 45 seconds is a very long auto.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because like some of them, like I ran into a hobby wing, like an older hobby wing, where it was only 30 seconds. It's like, I have done autos that long in the 600 before, just being a dumbass.
Yeah, we joke a lot of times, and I'll climb a heli for a specific amount of time, and Mike, you'll grab out a timer, and we'll see if basically I can climb for.
You've done over a minute.
If I can climb for 45 seconds and take 45 seconds to get back to the ground, because it's actually a bit of a challenge to take as long in an auto as you did in a climb if you're not set for rocket head speeds and huge amounts of pitch.
But you did have a night set up that time. That makes it a lot easier to just float your way down and not care. You can actually see it better.
The night blades are very visible, and I do enjoy autos at night blades because of their weight. I was visiting Matt's place for one of the Bodos Fun Flies spring last year, and he was on the mic yelling out instructions, and he was yelling out, just a little more, and the heli was floating. At some point, most people were like, I don't think it's descending, and it was above the tree line, so it was getting the wind we couldn't feel, and it was absolutely epic just to watch that heli pretty much pause. The blades didn't stop, but the heli just wasn't descending.
Yeah, that was fun. I've had the same thing with the nitro, like the one auto contest, where I was like, I'm going to have to bail out of this. I was like, wait, the blades aren't slowing down. We can totally drag this out to an obscene length. And it got to the pad.
No, Yeah, I was doing the same thing today with the wind in Fluvanna, and the guys were just absolutely besides themselves. They don't usually see people hanging autos that long, and it's like I can count the blades, and I'm just autoing along, just feeding the collective just right and keeping the controls
If
going.
you've got the disc loading, you can do it.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing is, it's fun to play with the disc load, to go back and forth. Try short blades, try long blades, check out the same auto.
So I think the next thing that we talked about in this, if I remember right.
Actually, let me add something with the autos. So when you're trying to execute an auto and stuff like that, one thing you don't want to be afraid of is don't be afraid to bail out. That's why you want to set up that bailout. Is if you're coming out and you're pretty low, and you don't think you're either going to make the spot you want to land at, or you don't think you have enough head speed,
just use
bail
it.
out. Just use it. That's what it's there for.
I mean,
even if you're at a fun fly and they're having auto contest and it's like that, you're better off just bailing out.
Don't be the guy with broken skids.
Yeah. Or blades, or boom, or everything.
Honestly, the first time I get an auto heli, if it's like not mine, and I've never flown that model before or one similar to it, I won't even do the auto all the way through. I'll get like half of the way down to try and feel out how it floats or how it accelerates, and then bail out anyway, just to be safe. And then just go through
I'd say go about it. Yeah, I'd say go about it a different way. A lot of times, DePaulo, I will, if I don't know the heli, I'll go take it 2 feet off the ground in a hover, and I'll flip throttle hold and flip out just to see how it spools back
check
up.
bail out first.
But that's me taking someone else's model, and I ask them, "Hey, did you set up bailout?" And they go, "Yeah, I did," or I don't know.
Does it work?
I'll take it out, put it in a 2-foot hover, flip it at a throttle hold, see if it does a quick spool up, or if it chokes, and I end up landing a heli in a baby auto at 2 feet. If it's fine, I then usually do a fast auto where I'm much deeper into the negative than I would normally do, just so I have a ton of head speed at the bottom and I get a feel for how that helicopter floats when I'm 2 feet over the ground with a lot of head speed. Does it decay really quick? Is something robbing head speed, or does it hold it really nice? And does it instill confidence? And I hey, I like that. Let's go do it again. And in which case, maybe it's time I stop flying their model and let them enjoy it.
Here's your heli back. Sorry, I killed the batteries. You can go charge now.
The main thing is though, especially in a fun fly situation where other people are watching and nagging you and all that stuff, it's all for fun. Don't crash a model, bail out, do it again.
Yeah, that's for Sunday.
Sunday is when you crash it.
But do remember, we will all watch you crash and be happy to have watched and seen it.
No one wishes it, but no one wants to miss it.
Exactly. But if you want to save some money, bail out.
Yeah, everyone's going to give we bailed out. But whatever. Love to see you have fun and take the model off the line, having participated and, executing that perfect, pure flipping auto.
So, clinics. That's the next thing on the list. Yes, you should do them. Actually, what else? What do we talk about clinics?
So there's usually there's 2 clinics I know of here in the United States. One of them is run is the Freestyle 3D clinic done by Todd Bennett. He's had Jamie Robertson teaching with him in this last year. You can look him up on freestyle3d.com. Todd is an amazing teacher. Haven't run anybody. He's an amazing teacher, full of knowledge, and he knows how to teach really well. The other clinic that's been talked about, and we'll definitely see more of them in this year, is Alan Szabo and Ben Storick doing the Align Clinic. They don't care about brands, so nothing brand specific, but Gail has spoken that if you're a club and you'd like to do a clinic with them and they're coming in the area, give them a shout, and they will help you with a clinic at your club. Clinics are definitely worth it. If you're just wanting to hover you want to learn Puro flips, they will find where your gap is and get you going again. I know when I sat down and talked with Todd, he gave me a tip to, first flight of the day, pick the heli up into a hover and start Puroing really, really slow. If you think you're Puroing slow, no, you're not Puroing slow enough. Todd says slower, and he will tell you, that's not a Puro. Learn how to Puro. Do it slower. From what I learned in it, it'll show you if you're ready for flying that day, if you're ready to learn, or if you're having a hard time keeping a nice steady hover without a heli moving everywhere, that perhaps that day is a back to basics kind of day instead of a drive forward and learn something new kind of day. The other thing, so if you're beyond hovering, they'll find your holes. They'll help you move forward. And the clinic is worth its weight of gold. I know going backwards, I had been flying a 450. I had done over $500 worth of crash damage to the thing. I pretty much thought that I might not make it in this hobby, that it might just be too much. A clinic popped up in my area. I went to it. It was the best thing. I found out I do know how to fly. The 450 really wasn't adjusted well for me, and I didn't know how to adjust it well. I hadn't learned that yet, and the clinic really taught me that, I know what's going on, and I can fly. I know how to hover. Reinstilled that confidence that, this hobby is worth it. Clinics are good things.
One last thing that we need to talk about here is don't burn yourself out when it comes to progression and learning new maneuvers and all that stuff. So, what I mean by that is don't make that like your main thing to do is I got to make sure I practice this maneuver until I perfect it. Because you're just gonna burn yourself out, get aggravated, and bad things happen. Usually what I do is, so I got, one thing I do a lot is I got a small yard, and back last year when I flew the 180 CFX, literally every day, what I would do is I'll fly one flight. I'll fly one flight and, of just progression. Basically what I'll do is I'll go hover maneuvers and I'll do very slow pirouettes. Then I'll flip it inverted, and I'll do it both directions. Then I'll flip it inverted and I'll do both directions, of very slow pirouettes. Then what I'll do is tail in, upright tail in, drift to the right, stop, drift to the left, stop, complete full passes, and then I'll turn it nose in and do the exact same thing, really slowly too. And then I'll flip it inverted and do the exact same thing. You'd be surprised of how challenging that is, just by doing that, just to practice your orientations. But I'll only do that for one flight. And then 5 flights, I will just do whatever I want. Just have fun, bang the sticks around, crash it maybe, I don't know. But I'll do that. I'll choose one flight out of every 5, just to progress. That way, I still feel like I'm progressing, but not burning myself out. I'm still having fun. So I'm still enjoying the learning of it and progression of the maneuvers, of these slow moving maneuvers, and I feel a lot more comfortable with my more fast maneuvers that I fly. So that's the biggest thing, is don't burn yourself out. Take it very slow.
We want to thank everybody at RCHO and the RC Heli Hooligans for putting on a hell of a fun fly. We really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to hanging out with you guys all soon. Also, since the last show, we set up a 2018 Heli calendar on the Facebook website. It's on Google Drive. If you want to come take a look at it, you can message us or email us and tell us to add an event there. We've been adding events that we are going to attend, and also adding events that folks have made us aware of. Along with, I've added a link on there for a filter of the AMA's sanctioned Heli events, so that you can see what's been sanctioned out in the United States for Heli events. Past that, check out the Heli calendar. We got events coming up. In the month of February. Got an expo. Got no events got one event in March, and then April is open, and then we get down to the heavy fun fly season starting in May. So check out the fun flies in your area. Make sure to get out there and fly your helicopter and hang out with friends and learn some stuff.
Yep. With that said, guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode coming out later on. And Mike with the signature.
I mean, I love you, Chris Breitbart. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
From all of us at TellARotor RC Podcast, thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the field. You can find us online on Facebook.com at TellARotor RC Podcast or on Podbean. Welcome to the bloopers for this episode. We recommend you listen to them in private, as the audio is loud and the subject matter a bit sophomoric. Enjoy.
Diabetes.
Diabetes. Diabetes, diabetes, diabetes. Diabetes!
Beatus.
Take
Diet dick! Diet dick! Dick!
This is, yeah.
The thing is, I don't like good evening.
Well, it's evening, so that's why I wrote
Yeah,
good
for
evening.
us, but someone else could be listening in the morning.
Good night.
It's never...
Good day. How about that? Talk some British.
Who is this? Who is I?
How did I get here? The
You should find that cat and you end him.
That poor cat. That poor cat was black, now it's all white. Alright, I wrote that at a time.
It's been a minute since you wrote down the time.
I just did it, okay? Chill, golly. Alright, freaking do this. Alright, got that out of your system?
Peter Pan picked a barrel of pickled peppers.
There you go.
Just
Here,
symbolize
started
it like
at 30
that.
minutes there, because I got 50 seconds now.
Alright.
I've got 10, 9, 8,
Okay,
7,
yeah, sure.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, you mean now? Okay.
No, he's just counting down because he enjoys doing that.
Yeah, okay. Alright.
Penis.
Oh, fine, whatever. Freaking damn it.
Penis.
You know, I'm gonna start this, and then you're gonna just randomly say that, aren't you?
Penis.
We're going to
Yep,
keep saying it
yep.
until you start it.
Alright. Well, I'm trying.
Penis.
I gotta take my headphones off for this. Damn.
Penis.
Yeah, I'm clipping. Damn it. I gotta get my microphone away. Okay, so here we go.
Penis.
Shut up.
Penis.
I'm taking my headphones off for this, okay? You guys gotta stop. Now I know how freaking Dan feels. Oh, jeez. Episode 175. Haven't heard of it? Look it up.
Axe woo.
That's right. I can take my headphones off. I can just cut you guys out.
You can't cut me out. Never. I will be heard.
Dude, I can hear you through the freaking walls, and there's like 3 walls between us. And a staircase. Okay.
Penis.
Hello, and welcome to TellARotor RC. Oh, shit.
This guy.
See, I didn't want to say podcast afterwards. Freaking changed it on me, man. No, I don't want to recover my freaking PC. Okay. Okay. Hello, and welcome to TellARotor RC. I did it right, and I freaking screwed up. Okay.
Penis.
See, I'm used to what I wrote down, and you have to freaking change it.
We don't call ourselves TellARotor RC Podcast. We call ourselves TellARotor RC.
I keep on saying podcast at the end. I don't know why. Okay.
Read the words.
I'm reading.
Teleprompter. It, we'll do it live.
I'll do it live. Just it.
All right, one more time. Hello, and welcome to TellARotor RC, a podcast about RC helicopters hosted by me,
This dude.
Woo!
Robert's probably. I just imagine Monty spinning around in his chair right now, just screaming.
Son of a bitch!
Hello, and welcome to TellARotor
I'm gonna
RC,
do it, okay?
a podcast about RC helicopters hosted by Michael, Mike, and Robert. This episode...
He's not just me! Yes. Okay. I'm doing
Hello, and welcome to TellARotor RC, a podcast for RC helicopters hosted by Michael, Mike, and Robert.
Freaking time.
This is episode 2
I'm doing
titled
it
Flight
one more
Maneuver
time.
Progression.
Okay? I'm doing it. Hello, and welcome to TellARotor RC, a podcast about RC helicopters hosted by Michael, Mike, and Robert. This is episode 2 titled Flight Maneuver Progression.
Do it over again.
What did you say?
Do it again, and this time be sure about your name.
Yes.
Don't hesitate on your name. Do you know what your name is, boy?
Not really.
Okay.
All right.
Your name's Pile!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TellARotor RC, a podcast about RC helicopters hosted by Michael, Mike, and Rob. Bert.
Dog.
Yeah, I'm Robert, motherfucker. I didn't write Rob.
That's what I'm used to calling you.
Yeah, well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong.
Just like I call you Mike all the time, but you're really Michael.
Yes.
Down south.
Oh, yeah.
Fly it with me.
Your mother.
Yes.
Why the hell, man?
Thank
I have
you,
to
George
cut that out.
Carlin.
George Carlin. What a saint.
Thank you, George Carlin.
Wait. You gotta take out of that. It's a good thing.
This was the original 7 dirty word.
Right.
Dude.
I think he does say in there, doesn't he? And then he pulls it out.
Yes, it's part of the. It's part of the dirty words.
Yeah, I love that skit.
No, he tried to take motherfucker out because it's a derivative of and
You can't use it.
but then when you've got it doesn't put it together nicely, so he left motherfucker.
He's got a point.
Mother.
Shaggy's over in the corner, just like, I have to edit all of this.
So, yeah, went to RCHO, hung out with these two bastards.
You did the same thing we did, and you came out alive. Congratulations.
Yes. However, I actually flew more than 4 times.
I flew more than 4 times, implying I didn't flew.
What the fudge? He's knocking on my door.
Monty's now across his house, banging on the room that Shaggy's recording in. This is great.
Hi.
Jeez.
This man doesn't drink coffee.
He smokes weed every
He
day.
does something.
No, I do
It
not.
ain't weed. It has the opposite
No,
effect.
it's worse than that.
Right.
So I'm just gonna make it short since he's not gonna let me talk.
Oh, I'm back here on the mic.
What?
I'm back here on the mic. I'm not knocking on doors violently.
Yet.
I need the keys for the
And
Humvee.
some Chemlite batteries. Don't forget those. Those are real important.
They are. You know what is also important?
Muffler fluid.
Oh my gosh.
More bleeps. You know, it's not hard. You could just do one constant bleep over the whole thing. That'd be easier.
Yep.
There were no
I'm probably gonna do that.
there were no safe for work words in that whole string. You just bleep the whole thing. You didn't miss any content. Don't worry.
You know what?
Oh.
But
So yeah, there's some practice for you. We can get
Yeah.
it for later.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
He's tired now. So anyway, we did talk about
Bitch!
auto.
I love you.
Fantastic. Is this why we get along in a car ride and people like Mike Darcy just want to roll out of the car at speed and suffering
Tuck and roll. I can't take it.
suffering the fate of the tarmac is better than being stuck in a car with Mike and Monty?
Oh, and I'm gonna ride with you guys to New Jersey.
You'll
Oh,
be
jeez.
fine. Probably.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Up until about 5 a.m., I won't talk much, and about 5 a.m., I just start falling asleep at the
Oh
wheel.
yeah.
Okay.
And then he hopes that
And then about 7 a.m., I'm going to become an absolute psycho.
yeah,
Oh, jeez.
you're dealing with someone
Don't.
who plays pop
take the
music
megaphone.
in the car because death metal has no effect on him anymore. So I get to listen to Adele for 8 hours on the way to Muncie.
No.
It got
Yeah, listen.
it got to the point that I was actually yelling at the radio at 4 a.m. like, I don't care, Adele. Get a new phone. I swear to God. It was bad. I think I was delirious at that point.
Going to bed
this is
with
gonna be fun.
rap over earphones as a 12-year-old listening to Metallica and Megadeth means that I'm a
He's
bit
immune to it now.
I'm immune to it. I fall asleep.
He straight
to
up
it.
will do it in the car.
But then again, my sugar habits are so bad that I can drink a can of Mountain Dew and go to bed.
Rip.
And surprisingly, I have really cut sugar out of my diet, and it still doesn't seem to faze me.
So, other things. Clinics.
Uh-oh.
Clinics.
No. Oh, you said so my answer is mother.
Uh-oh.
Nice. I love you, Shaggy. Get out the beat.
And that's where usually I fly my
Shaggy
helicopter.
robot.
And so,
His recording sounds good despite he's robotic.
Yeah, that's the sad part, right?
so ignore it.
Does he know?
Anyway. Shut up.
Yes. It takes approximately 4 seconds.
Okay. Anyway.
You're going to have to go ahead and restart that
Yeah.
bit of recording for yourself, Shaggy, right after mother.
Beautiful. Expertly executed,
hit my
Monty. I heard thoughts in a robot making love to a vacuum cleaner.
Is it a line branded vacuum?
Hell yes, it is.